Okay, class, here we go. Here's our quick run through. Photocopy machine's running in the background. Hopefully that's going to be done soon, but it's the space that I've got right now, so we're going to do the best that we can with it. Remember, you can press pause at any point if I'm going too quickly, but I will work things out. I'm going to sort of just go through this, showing the work, but maybe not explain every single detail along the way. So number one, when solving by graphing, if you get parallel lines, how many solutions do you get? Parallel lines have no solution, so that's C. Which method would you use to solve 3x minus 4y equals 48 and 6x plus 5y equals 10? Everything is nice and neatly stacked. It would be easy to multiply that top by -2, so elimination is C. Number 3, by what number should you multiply the first equation to solve the following system of equations? So if we want to just multiply that first equation, nothing we can multiply 5 by to make it a 3, but we can multiply this 3 by a 4. They're the same sign, so we'll want a -4, so we will pick D. Number 4 is asking us to solve by substitution. Get these other pages out of the way so I can move this better. Okay, so if we're solving by substitution, we're going to circle and underline. We're going to cross out the letter that we circled, and in its place, we're going to put what we underlined. So we now have -3x plus 4x minus 4 equals 10. So we'll combine like terms. That says 1x minus 4. Oh, that's a -10 equals -10. We'll add the 4. So that gives us x equals -6. And that actually narrows it down because there's only one option that has an x value of -6. So we will pick B. Number 5 is telling us to solve the following using substitution. Again, just keep in mind a multiple choice. I'm not going to know what option you picked. I'm just trying to give you a hint that's going to be the easiest. Okay, so here's where we have x equals or y equals. We're underlining what it equals. We circled y, so we're crossing out y. So we have 2x minus 4x equals 4. This is a -2x equals 4. We'll divide by -2. X equals -2. Okay, and again, we can narrow down our options because the only one that has an x value of -2 is C. Number 6 is asking us to solve the following by elimination. So these are already stacked. We already have a matching coefficient where one is positive and one is negative, so we can add straight down. 5x plus x gives us a 6x. My y's cancel. -1 plus 7 gives me a 6. So when we finish solving this, we'll get x equals 1. Now we have a couple options here, so we do have to plug this one back in to narrow that down. So I'm going to plug into the bottom equation. So instead of saying x minus 2y, I'm going to say 1 minus 2y equals 7. -2y equals 6. We'll get y equals -3, and so our answer will be B. 1 common, -3. Moving on to the next page, number 7. Says solve the following by elimination. So these are stacked, but we don't have a matching coefficient. I'm going to multiply this 1 by a 4. And then they're both positive, so I need to make one of them the opposite sign, so I'll use a negative. So I'll have 4x plus 4y equals 24. That top equation is staying the same. My bottom equation becomes a -4x minus 32y equals, let me see, 34, 136. Okay, we can then add straight down. -28y equals -112. Okay, so that tells us that y equals 4. Okay, we have a couple options where y equals 4, so we're going to have to plug that back in. I'm going to plug it back into this original bottom one. So I'll say x plus 8 times 4, which is 32, equals 34. So it says x equals 2, and so our final answer will be C. Number 8 says that you can solve by any method that you want to. So you could graph, you could do substitution, you could do whatever. If we graph these, right, we're going to start at +3, and then we'll go up 4 over 1. If we graph the second equation, we're going to start at -2. And then up 4 over 1. This gives us parallel lines, which is a no solution. Okay, we could also recognize that we have a matching slope, but they're not the same lines, so that's a no solution. Number 9, we need to solve this second one for y. Okay, we could graph these both, but we can also recognize that those are the same equation. So if we graph them, we get the same line. That's IMS, which is C. Number 10, this inequality tells us to use a dashed line, so we can narrow it down to A or B. And less than tells us to shade below, so we want B. The sum of two numbers is 20, so that's going to be our x plus y equals 20, so not B, not D. And then the difference is subtraction, so difference is going to be 3 times the first number and twice the second number is 40. So for our second equation, we need a 3x minus 2y equals 40, so we'll pick C. 12, we're solving by graphing, so we're going to start at 2 and then go up 2 over 1. Make sure that we're making enough points. Second equation, right, we're starting at 2, and it's a negative 1/2, so we're going down 1 right 2, and we already have our intersection point, which is going to be 0, 2. 13, our first one, we're going to start at negative 1, and then up 3 over 1. Again, just making enough points, whatever that is. Second equation, we're going to start at 4. Down 2, right 1. There's our intersection point, which is the point 1, 2. Number 3, our top equation's fine. We can do this one. So we're going to start at negative 4. Down 3, right 1. I'll pretend that line was better. That's why we make those extra points, to make sure we're good. Our second one, we're going to need to solve for y. Negative 3x minus 1. So we'll start at negative 1, down 3 over 1, and we are going to get parallel lines. So this is a no solution. 15, we're going to start at 4 and then up 1, right 1. This is a solid line. We are going to shade above. Second equation, we're going to start at 1 and then up 1, right 1. That is going to be a solid line, and we are going to shade below. These do not overlap anywhere, so this one is a no solution. Number 16, our first equation, we're going to start at 4 and then up 2 over 1. This is going to be a dashed line. We are going to shade above. Second equation, we are going to have to solve for y. Remember, when we divide by a negative, we have to flip that inequality sign. This is going to be a solid line, and we are going to shade below. They overlap over here, so that's going to be our final answer. 17, 18, and 19, we are solving systems by substitution. Get rid of that x, and in its place we're going to put a negative 4y. So we'll have 3 times negative 4y. It's 2y equals 20. Combine like terms. Negative 2. We're going to have to plug that back in, right? We can plug it in where we underline. So negative 4 times negative 2 tells us that x equals 8. So our final answer will be 8, negative 2. Our only x is right here, so we're going to have to solve this by subtracting that 5y. So we'll say x equals negative 5y plus 4. So we're going to get rid of the x, and in its place, we're going to put the negative 5y plus 4. Combine like terms. That's a false statement, so that's a no solution. Number 19. Get rid of that y. Now we have a -1 sitting in front of this y, so this time we have to use the parentheses, even though it doesn't look like we're going to need them. So we'll distribute that -1. Combine like terms are on the same side, so 2x and 2x gives us 4x. Okay, once we get that x equals 2, we're going to plug that back in up here where we underline. So we'll say y equals 3 minus 2 times 2. -1. So 2 comma -1. Then elimination. These are already set up to eliminate, so we can add. Okay, then if we plug that back in, let's say I'm going to plug it up in here for the top x. So actually I'm going to plug it in for the bottom x since it doesn't have subtraction. 2 plus y equals 3. Y equals 1. These are also already set up for elimination. Those will cancel. Plug that y back into the bottom one. So we'll say x plus 6 equals 11. X equals 5. Number 22, we're going to need to multiply here some things. So let's see, I'm going to multiply this bottom equation, I guess, by 3, and then I can get rid of the y's. Those signs are already the opposite, so I'm going to leave the top equation the same. That 3 is getting multiplied all the way through, but 3 times 0 is just 0. The y's cancel. I'll get x equals -1. And I'm going to plug this back up in the original bottom one. So -1 plus 2y equals 0. 2y equals 1. Y equals 1/2. So -1 comma 1/2. Number 23, we already have matching, but one's positive and one's negative. So we're going to multiply one of them by -1. So our top stays the same. Our bottom becomes a positive 9x minus 6x is a -21. Oh, geez. These are y's. These are y's. Equals 12. So we get y equals 1. So I'm going to plug this back in. This top one for y. So let's see. 3 times 1 is 3. So I'll get 5 comma 1. 24, the sum of two numbers, so that's telling me to add, is 70. Their difference, so that's telling me to subtract, is 20. Add those straight down. X equals 45. So in these blanks over here, you could just write the equation. As long as you have the two equations, I just want to make sure you know that I'm going to be grading them. Put that 45 back in for x, so I'll say 45 plus y equals 70. Equals 25, so my two answers will be 45 and 25. So kind of off the page. Number 25, the sum of two numbers is 81, so I'm going to add up. Their difference is 19. And I can go straight to adding these. So 2x, let's see, 89 is 100. X equals 50. So 50 plus y equals 81. Y equals 31, so I'll have 50 and 31. 26. It cost a family of, let's see, we have 3 children and 2 adults, $32.50. It cost a family of 2 children and 3 adults, $35. So I'm going to do this by elimination, which means I need to do some multiplying here. Multiply the top by 2 and the bottom by -3, and I'll get my C's to cancel out. So 6C plus 4A, 65. And then -6C minus 9A is -105. I can add those. Oh, so this is a -5A. Let's see. -105 and 65 will give me a -40. Okay, so I'm going to divide by -5. Squeeze that in. That says A equals 8. Okay, so I know that an adult is going to be $8. Okay, and then when I plug back in to find the child, let's see, I'm going to plug into this top one. So 3C plus 2 times 8 is 16 equals 32.50. 16.50. Gonna give me 5.50. So I know that a child is $5.50. Okay, number 27, you should be talking something about, it actually doesn't matter what method you pick, you just need to be picking one that actually supports the problem and has a matching reasoning. So you could say I choose elimination because they're already stacked. I could easily multiply by -1 to make it so I could add. You could say that you pick substitution because it would be easy for you to solve the first one for y. It just sort of matters that you have a matching reasoning there, so that could have multiple different things. 28, without graphing, how many solutions does this have? I would say that this has no solution because they have the same slope, but they have different y-intercepts, so they're not the same line. We would say that they have infinite many solutions if they are the exact same line. And if they have different slopes, then we would say that they have one solution. But in this case, they're the same, but they're different lines. So that's what we would be explaining is our reasoning for parallel lines and no solution. The solution to a system represents the x and y value that make both equations true at the same time. So we should be saying something about that there. Number 30. Something costs $58. It's on sale for 15% off. So we're going to find what that 15% is. Get $8.70. So that's how much we're saving. So we're going to subtract that value off. Okay, so that's going to give us $49.30. Okay, then we need to calculate the sales tax. So now I'm going to find 7% of that, which gives us 3.451. So again, money we have to round. So $3.45 I need to add back on to the new value. Sorry, my writing's kind of crooked. I have the book stacked up. I don't have my mountain, so I'm just dealing with what I have. Oh, this is going to be 52.75 is our final answer. Okay, the last one, we need to rate the function rule. So we're going to pick 2 points. I'm going to actually pick the bottom 2 this time because there are positives. So I have the point 1, 2 and 3, 0. So 0 minus 2 over 3 minus 1 gives me a -2 over 2. So my slope is going to equal -1. I'm going to use that with the point 3, 0 and plug this into point slope form. So y minus 0 equals -1 times x minus 3. To distribute that, adding a 0 isn't going to matter. And then the last step is I need to change this into function notation. And there's my final answer.